First things, this shower and shave the face of day. Gotta be fresh before it's time to play. You know the look, black khakis, white t-shirt and herringbone, white do-rag, black flag to complete the zone. Now it's on, jump in the low. The homie Warren at the wheel, so we ain't slow. Doing 55 down, written down, my CDs in the deck, so the speakers blast. Bumping that gun in the club, pull up to the car wash, young G show me love. Shine up the chrome Supremes. The OG styles looking mean. One time wanna creep by. Folks, we just chillin', so I don't know why. Other than they just wanna hate. So we jump in the ride, rev it up and skank. Come roll with me. Put the chronic in the air, hit a corner with me. Mount some D's right there, get loaded with me. And enjoy the party. It's all love here, so don't hurt nobody. Come roll with me. Put the chronic in the air, hit a corner with me. Mount some D's right there, get loaded with me. And enjoy the party. It's all love here, so don't hurt nobody.
Hello, and welcome. I am Rosville, your host for Alliance Late Night. This is episode 8, coming at you later in the evening on a Monday, which is a little bit different for me. But we adapt and we move forward. So here I am. And what you were just listening to is an old track that I recorded way back in 2007. Lost one version, recorded a second one, recovered the original one, so released both of them at the same time back then, selling CDs out of my backpack. That's how we did it. But on to what this podcast is all about, and it's about professional wrestling. So let's get into it. Try to keep this brief. Excuse me. For this episode, I'm going to be talking about ASE Wrestling. Now, for those of you who don't know, ASE Wrestling, once again, I've mentioned this, is owned and operated by Darius. For National Wrestling Alliance fans, you remember him from NWA USA in the Junior Heavyweight Championship Tournament. He since, of course, moved on, started his own thing out there in North Carolina, and from what I'm seeing, they're doing pretty good out there. I'm pleased with the product. If you haven't caught up with it, I challenge you to go to YouTube, ASE Wrestling. That's ASE Wrestling. Look them up. Get caught up on all the old episodes, what's going on currently right now. And I believe that you will like the product like myself. But last week, Thursday, they had their latest episode, and I watched most of the episode the day that it ran, the stream ran, but things were going on around me, so I had to stop the play and come back to it to continue and finish out the stream and the match, the main event. It was actually the only match featured during this particular episode, and the way they did it, the way it was presented was, it's how you tell a story, it's how you bring it all together, it's how you retain the viewer. So let me transition here. Here you go. Darius Lockhart versus Darius Carter. Now, I'm a little bit newer to the promotion, still getting used to, sayings that they have going on and how commentary calls things out. So it's Darius 1 and Darius 2 is a lot of what I was hearing. For us, it's Darius 1 would be Lockhart, right? So there you have it. But anyway, getting to the match and the show. The show starts off with an interview this done by Chris Lee, which is one of the main commentators there in ASE Wrestling. And what they do is they splice some clips from Darius Carter, some clips from Lockhart, and they go back and forth. And what they're doing is they're painting the picture of why we're even watching this particular episode. Not so much going back and doing a highlight clip of a prior wrestling match or anything like that. That could have easily been done. But I feel like having having this edited the way that it was with the interview segment, it just sold you on what was to come later in this episode. So of course they're going back and forth. Darius Carter, speaks some ill will toward Lockhart. Said he took his ball and went home. Said he was a quitter. Lockhart comes back and basically communicates that he was going through different trials and tribulations in his life, on top of starting a brand new company. So he had to take a back seat to take care of priorities, which was to establish this company and also to get himself back in order. But there again, we go back to Darius Carter, who takes a few times to poke at Lockhart by mentioning his short tenure in the NWA, as if to say by leaving and going to further his career and to put more eyes on him was a negative thing. But of course, this is part of the story that plays out, and part of the story that you and I and anyone else, who's gone on to go after their dreams, ambitions, and goals. Sometimes the people that you're around as you're climbing the mountain, they don't like that. And they will point out anything negative that they can take away from your shine. So what we have here is that classic story of, what they say, almost like the crab in the barrel kind of situation. As you're trying to climb out, somebody wants to pull you back down, wants to minimize and belittle your efforts. So in a nutshell, that's what we have going on here in this particular this feud, if you would, is the back and forth and, hey, this is what you did, you left us behind, yada yada yada. Now Darius Lockhart makes a point. It wasn't his fault that the culture and the promotion or the fans of the promotion didn't take to Carter after Lockhart parted ways for a moment. What is he to do? He can't tell the fans what to do. So if Carter didn't win him over, that's on Carter, right? But of course, Darius Carter's not hearing that. And so we continue with the back and forth. Just kind of looking through my notes here to see if I skipping anything. Okay, so in the exchange, one of the parts that I noticed that was a smart move, a professional wrestling move. Again, I'm not an insider. I just take notes, and I've become more aware of what the athletes do when they're in a microphone and why they say what they say. So as they're sitting there during this segment, split screen, interviewer in the middle, these guys on the right and left, as they're going back and forth, as much as they are going at each other, Darius Lockhart makes a point to point out the skills of Darius Carter. Now, some of you are familiar with the phrase burying somebody. This was the opposite of that. While you're having this back and forth to establish this beef between you two, you still take the effort to lift them, to bring them up, to add value to them as you go into this match. And by pointing out and mentioning Darius Carter's skills in the ring, it's a smart move. It's a wise thing. From everything that I know about professional wrestling, that's what you want to do, right? So again, this leads into the match later on. I'll come back around to that. But the following segment, the second segment of this, featured Caprice Coleman in kind of I wouldn't even call it a montage, but it was a video showcase, an interview where he's talking with the cameraman or whoever's asking him these questions, which we don't hear. We just hear the answers, right? And this is all to hype up next week's or this upcoming Thursday's main event, which is going to be between Caprice Coleman and Shug D for the Pan-African World Heavyweight Championship. The way this was put together was it was genius, it was brilliant, and it's highlighting Caprice Coleman as an in-ring talent over the years, not just since ASE Wrestling has become what it is, but going back to his days. They highlighted NWA Wildside. They highlighted NWA USA. he talks about, he makes a point, he's been out of the ring for a while, but they call him the ageless one, and it's not for no reason. If you remember, NWA fans that are watching, when he was in NWA USA Junior Heavyweight Tournament, he moved just as well as he did any other time in Ring of Honor. And he made a point to point that out, and it was done tastefully and with reason, right? You're trying to sell a match. You're trying to sell me on wanting to watch you compete for this championship belt. He made another point to say and point out what some athletes had to do to put themselves in a position to work themselves up the ladder, or to even have the opportunity to work themselves up the ladder. He makes a comparison between a two-dimensional wrestler who may just look good, have a few moves that they go to all the time, and have a nice physique. Then he talks about the four-dimensional wrestler who's, the mind, body, soul, the agility, the complete package. And I thought that was brilliant to put in there. Just saying, hey, some of us had to go a little bit harder than others because we didn't have the handout, the pull up, the buddy to call and the bigger promotion to get us there. So that adds more to the character spotlight that this is, and letting you know who he is and just how hard he's worked over the years and how well he's respected by the people who have watched him over the years, right? Another key point that I liked during this segment was the sale of the Pan-African World Heavyweight Championship. Now, this is a newer belt to me. I've never heard of it until I started watching ASE Wrestling. But Caprice Coleman made it a point to say, hey, I've wrestled in all these different places. I've been in the business for such an amount of time, but I've never held the big title. Not any title that was recognized by anyone on a serious level. But here he is today, preparing himself to go into this match for the Pan-African World Heavyweight Championship, a championship that matters and gets the recognition for him to even desire to want to go after it, for him to want to carry it and carry it with pride. This is how you make a championship belt, a championship title. This is how you make it important. This is how you add value to it. This is something that myself, along with NWA fans, as we've watched the NWA, we've had issues with this, the lack thereof, when it comes to the men's television championship and the women's TV title. Not so much the national title. Now they're working on that, and I give them props for that. They're doing some things to put that title in a position where it means a lot more than it has over, would say, maybe the last year. So I thought that was great, the way that this segment was put together, the way that championship belt was sold, the way that Caprice Coleman got himself over, and at the same time saying, hey, I know that this next generation, they're out here doing their thing, but they still have something to learn. And although this is kind of the student meets the teacher kind of thing, or the youngster meets the elder, there's a lesson to be learned at the end of this when it concludes. So I'm looking forward to the match that is going to be this Thursday. So I believe that is the 27th. Let's see, just make sure. That is correct. Thursday the 27th. That will be the main event for ASE Wrestling. Caprice Coleman versus Shug D for the Pan-African World Heavyweight Championship. Now, getting back to Darius Lockhart and Darius Carter, I do not want to give away the ending, the conclusion to the match, but what I will say is, as technically sound as Darius Lockhart is, and that's what we've come to expect from his matches, this was the opposite of that. This was fast paced from the beginning. When the bell rang, they went at it. It was a brawl mixed with, some in-ring, what you're used to, right? Demonstrating some skills in there. But for the most part, this was an action-packed, hard-hitting, drag out, I'm here to beat you down type of thing. But it was done balanced. It was balanced in my opinion. Not too much outside of the ring, just enough to make it make sense. Again, I don't want to give away the whole match, but there was a spot in this match where, the commentary were bothered a little bit by Darius Carter. And of course, there's a wrestler or former wrestler that was participating special commentary during this match. And Carter made a point to go over there and try to get at him, try to rile him up or whatever. That was done tastefully. The following spot after that involved someone in the crowd, which was involved from the beginning of this beef and what was going on from the beginning. So if you've been keeping track, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen, go check out ASE Wrestling. Check out last week's match and the week before that. Go back to the beginning of the season and come all the way back up to speed. I think they're only about 4 or 5 episodes in. So give yourself some time, pop yourself some popcorn, get caught up so you can understand where we're at with the event that just took place last Thursday and what's happening with the main event coming up on Thursday. Again, I thought this was an excellent match. It had main event vibes all the way around it, the whole entire episode. And there was only one match. One match. Interview segment highlighting what the full interview was, showing a good portion of the remaining part of the interview, just so you can see the animosity, the dislike toward one another, giving you the reason why you should watch, telling you the story of payback, telling you the story of you should shut your mouth and only speak about what you really know, because I have mines together over here. Now watch me have it so together, I'm going to get at you. This is just simply how you build up a match. This is how you build up a main event. This is how you tell a story. If I was going to critique anything in the ring during the match, I think I only saw one spot that was like, oh, okay. But that was quickly covered up and moved past quickly. I mean, when you're a professional in the ring, you're going to have those moments. The ability to move on and not become flustered for the rest of the match is where the true test of skills is at. So that was demonstrated. So to me, it's not really worth mentioning that particular spot in detail. You'll see it when you're watching. But the rest of the match, as well as the rest of the night, overshadows it by far. It's quickly erased from your mind. So when you get a chance, go check out this match. I give it if I was a Meltzer and I had a star system, I would give it a 4. A 4 out of 5. Now, if this had 2 other matches of the same caliber with the same energy, I'd probably give it about 4.5. The whole card. It was that good to me. And maybe it was really, really good to me because I've been watching some not so exciting wrestling lately. There's been some shows that I've watched and I'm just going, what are you guys doing? What is this? Why is it happening? I think this episode ran about 30-something minutes, 35 minutes, maybe 40, maybe just under 40. And within that time frame, I learned, was explained to, and told everything that I needed to know leading into the match. No questions were left. I knew exactly why they were there. I knew exactly why they didn't like each other. And when they got in the ring, I understood exactly why they were going at each other the way that they were. I understood why the guy at the commentating table was bothered, why he got harassed by Carter. I understand why the spot from someone in the crowd happened. I understand why I was hearing certain chants and certain boos, why I was getting certain pops during this match. I understood everything. It was all laid out. There was no questions. And they did it in less than an hour. So everybody else out there who's having a hard time getting your shows together, you might want to take notes. You just might want to take notes. Before I forget, I did have another little image to show here. This is this week's main event. Again, Suge D versus Caprice Coleman. You know Caprice Coleman from NWA Wildside, NWA USA, Ring of Honor commentary. You know him. You know his in-ring work. You may not be as familiar with Suge D, but he's the Pan-African heavyweight champion, the world heavyweight champion. He didn't get that because it was just handed to him. So, again, I challenge you all. I'm recommending to you all, go check out this week's episode Thursday at 5 p.m. Go check for yourself just to make sure the time. But let's just say right here. Yes, right down at the bottom of the flyer there, if you would. Explains it all to you. Gives you the YouTube address. And now you're in the know and you're good to go. You're all looped in and connected. So I'm not going to keep you any longer. Again, I wanted to keep this very brief, very short, just give you a little bit of insight to what's going on over there at ASE Wrestling. You're doing an excellent job. The presentation is just unlike anything else that's out there. Some matches are better than others. That's always going to be the case with any promotion. I have my favorites, and then I have my not so much favorites. That's for everybody, right? We're all going to have different likes and different dislikes, and that's fine. I have mine. So far, I haven't had a lot to really tear into. A lot of heavy critiquing. Everything hasn't been flawless, of course, but there's been more ups and there's been more positives just in the production aspect alone that makes it where I'm not so critical, because at least they are taking care of the core parts of the show that make sense for me to want to watch. They're doing everything for my retention. They're doing everything that makes me want to take the time out to not do anything else and watch an episode all the way through when I can, and there's not other things going on around me that require my attention immediately. With that said, again, go check them out. ASE Wrestling.
Face a day, gotta be fresh.
Sorry about that. ASE Wrestling. At Facebook, X, and YouTube. And I will see you again Friday evening with another upload for episode 9 of Alliance Late Night, which will be me discussing my recent trip down to Portland, Oregon for the Portland Wrestling Expo. First time ever going to an expo, first time ever having that experience. It was different. I mean, I've seen them on TV and seen these things in movies, but I've never been to one, and it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. I'm looking forward to discussing that on the next episode. So until then, everybody take it easy, be easy, be good or be good at it, and stay out the way, because people are tripping. So I'm out.
It's time to play, you know the look, black khakis, white t-shirt and herringbone, white do-rag, black flag to complete the zone, now it's on, jump in the low, The homie won at the wheel, so we ain't slow. Doing 55 down, written down. My CDs in the deck, so the speakers blast. Bumping that gun in the club. Pull up to the car wash, Young G show me love. Shine up the Chrome Supremes. The OG styles looking mean. One time wanna creep by. Folks, we just chillin', so I don't know why. Other than they just wanna hate. So we jump in the ride, rev it up and skank. Come roll with me. Put the chronic in the air, hit a corner with me. Mount some D's right there, get loaded with me. And enjoy the party. It's all love here, so don't hurt nobody.